fast periods in the year. And that's the Easter, Pascha, of course, and then we have Christmas, and then we have about a year, the first 14 days of about a year. And then this is what's called the Apostolic Fast. Depending on when Pentecost comes, those days vary. These were 13 days of fasting, and then it's today. So those who did fast, again, God bless you. And again, it's a great discipline for all of us as Orthodox Christians to observe whenever we can. And again, pick this up, and there are some other messages over here that I won't go over. But again, just to say that again, if you're not a steward yet, pick up a stewardship card. If you think you can't afford it, get what you can, for the year. You know what? If you give if you get $5 a week, fine. You put it on the card, $5 a week. Put it in the envelope, and we put your name on it. We put you in the thing. $20 a week, by the way, would be $1,000 for the year. You would become a 1,000 steward. If you went to the diner, you're going to spend more than $20 for breakfast. You have breakfast free every time you come here. So it's not like what the church is asking you for tons of money or anything like that. We're not. It's really up to you. It's up to you. Look at it that way and how nice it is, Hey, I'm a 1,000 steward. I remember somebody that was just making it, paying the mortgage and all that kind of stuff. And when I put it that way, she said, hey, I can do that. She became a 1,000 steward for years. Anyway, that's the way it is. So look upon your church with positivity, with love and faith in the Lord. And that's the way we should look at us. So as I said, we're celebrating Peter and Paul, the two great apostles of the church. Peter being the leader of all the apostles. If you heard some of the epistle here, I want to tell you about St. Paul, who was he was a Pharisee. In other words, he was a holy man of the Hebrew church, Hebrew synagogue, and when he heard about Jesus, he was just as upset as all the other Pharisees, not all of them, but most of them who were against Jesus. They thought he was preaching a blasphemy, and he was persecuting Christians. And on the way, he was going to Damascus, and it says in another epistle, and the horse was struck over, and it tumbled him over off the horse, and Jesus appeared to him and says, Paul, why are you persecuting me? Why? Because Paul was a very intelligent person, He wrote the epistles, to the Corinthians, to the Thessalonians, to the Romans. He wrote the epistles. Read them and see how brilliant he is. And again, I mentioned it before. The epistles were written before the Gospels. Much of the Gospels were written by what St. Paul had written already. So Paul was a great preacher. Not one of the 12, but he became an apostle of the church through his works and what he did. And let me just read here, what did he go through? He had everything. They were wealthy, he was wealthy, he was well-renowned in the Jewish faith. And when he became a Christian, look what it says here. It says, with greater labors, far more imprisonments. He went to jail with countless beatings. They beat him, countless beatings, he said, and often their death. 5 times I have received the hands of the Jews for 40 lashes less one. 40 lashes less one. The less one they say because they only get 39. But he got 5 times he was whipped with the whip, for goodness sakes. 5 times. 3 times I have been beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. And night and day I have been adrift at sea. On frequent journeys, in danger from rivers, dangers from robbers, dangers from our own people, danger from Gentiles, danger in the city, danger in the wilderness, danger at the sea, Beware from false brethren. On and on. St. Paul, who had everything, and he gave himself to Christ. And that's why he says, and that's why I endure all that I receive. And he says, with blessings, true blessings. He writes even in here on the second part of this pericope over here, and he says, and you know what? I was given the gift of going to the third heaven. I was given a gift to go to the third heaven. And what I saw, he says, I can't describe it in words. The man of words. Read the epistles and see how beautiful he writes. And he says, I cannot describe the beauty of heaven. That's how beautiful it is. It goes beyond. It simply goes beyond. Third heaven. Is that a clue that there's more than one heaven? I think so. I think I mentioned it before. My thoughts on heaven is, I believe that there's 10 heavens. Because you have the 9 orders of angels. I'll just mention this. I might be repeating myself now. But anyway, 9 orders of angels. You have the cherubim up on top, and then you have principalities, just a whole slew of angels. And the angels and archangels are in the lower heaven. They're in the first heaven. They're the ones who minister to the human race. We hear about St. Gabriel and St. Michael and all the other angels. We're assigned an angel. So angels, and how beautiful even the first heaven is. And why do I say 10th heaven? Because I believe that when Satan was expelled from paradise, he was the highest of the angels. He was the most beautiful angel. Lucifer was his name. But he became proud in himself. He began to think that he was so praised by so many of the other angels because of whatever attributes he had, whatever he had, they began to follow him. So he wanted to be higher than God. And what did he do? Yes, he became the devil. He was expelled from paradise. So, the 10th heaven. If there is a 10th heaven, we know it's not written anywhere. But, again, my suspicion of all the 10th heaven is why? Because when we sing to the Theotokos, you are higher than the cherubim, most glorious than the seraphim, who are in the 9th heaven. Or in the 9th heaven. And the 10th heaven was vacated by Lucifer. And if she's higher than the 9th heaven, or the cherubim and the seraphim, she would be in the 10th heaven. Not only do I suspect that, because it says in the Gospels that we, as human beings, are higher than created a bit higher than the angels. That's in the book of Revelation. We are created a bit, not while we're here on earth in our sinfulness, but when we are, again, called to heaven, that we are to be in the 10th heaven, because the Theotokos is there. And where is Christ going to be? He's going to be with his mother. The human Christ is going to be on the 10th heaven. That's what I say. The church doesn't say it. It doesn't write it down anywhere. But that's what I believe. There's going to be a 10th heaven. And Paul was delivered to the 3rd heaven. He was given this grace. Whatever glories they are, glorious archangels, glorious angels, more glory than we can understand what they are. First heaven, second heaven, third heaven, all the way to the 10th heaven. We, I believe, are called to be in the 3rd heaven. St. Paul, the one we celebrate today. And of course, Peter, the impetuous one. I say it so often. Poor Peter, he was so quick to say things. If somebody who was very impetuous, somebody said to him immediately, he would respond emotionally. He did that. He did it with Christ. When he denied Christ, the fear came into him. He didn't have this fullness of commitment. I think he had commitment, fullness, but again, his quickness to answer, to respond, caused him to deny Christ. 3 times he denied Christ. And yet, Christ says, Peter, you are called the rock, and on this church I will build, on this rock I will build my church. Amazing. But what does it show? What does it appear? That God is so loving and forgiving. That's the whole poem. God is so loving and forgiving. Even Peter, who denied him. But Peter asked for forgiveness, of course. As a matter of fact, he thought he was not a disciple anymore. He was not part of any of that after the crucifixion. The 3 days he mourned. He really moaned about his denial, and he thought he was separate. He separated himself, but no. Christ embraced him because he knew his commitment. The gospel says it today. Who do they say that I am? Some say, well, they think Elijah came back. St. John the Baptist, you came back as St. John the Baptist, and so on and so forth. And he said, who do you say that? Who do you? He's talking to his apostles. Who do you say that I am? And Peter says, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus says, this was revealed to you by the Holy Spirit, by God my Father. This was revealed to you, Peter, and upon this church I will build my church. By that statement, who am I? You are the Christ, the Son of the living God, as we proclaim. Who are you? You are Christ, the Son of the living God. That's who we are, as his people. So Peter and Paul are the forerunners of Christianity. Really, they are, with all the other apostles who were chosen by him. So we celebrate today the great apostles, Peter and Paul. Tomorrow is a celebration of all 12 apostles. No liturgy tomorrow. But again, we celebrate the 12 apostles tomorrow. And then again, as I said, we begin the gospel at the beginning of Christ's ministry. And may they bless you this day.